Florida State and Georgia Tech took center stage. Unfortunately for Florida State fans, in Ireland, the hype was real around this team. Insufficient in certain units. Wide receiver was a big worry on offense, linebacker on defense. But kind of the one thing that we were supposed to be able to hang our hat on was going to be defensive line play. We'll start there before we get to the other side of the trenches. From left to right, Pat Payton, Josh Farmer, Daryl Jackson, Marvin Jones Jr. were supposed to be maybe the best 4 defensive linemen in the entire country. You had Pete Thamel saying it, Andy Staples. I made the memes. I made the reels. Nick Saban says FSU has top 5 talent. All these great things. Everybody on College game days picking Florida State to go to the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. The plays just didn't happen. There's no real easy way to slice it. I'm not going to compare it to any teams, but you think about Ohio State team that came out expecting the world, and then a nightmare happened against Virginia Tech. They went on to win the national championship. But you can also remember Florida State in a year thinking of the world was ahead of them. They get blown out by Virginia Tech, and the rest is history. It was an absolute living nightmare. I don't think we're going to have either of those endings. I think it's going to be okay. I think we're going to end up somewhere in the middle. I think you've still got a 10-win team that you're looking at, but if some things don't change, it could easily get worse than that. The defensive line, Josh Farmer, pegged as a beast, as a guy who's already thought of as a 3rd-round pick, could work his way up into maybe a 1st-round pick. He did not bring his stick to the fight today. I'll have to watch the film review, of course. Watching those terrible TV angles, it's really hard to truly break down the game, but really not impressed with him. Martin Rosario comes in with a $4.99 super chat. Don't worry, FSU fans. This game doesn't count because you guys got snubbed from the playoff last year. Did I get that right? No, unfortunately, it would be nice. Texas's loss didn't count. Alabama's loss didn't count. But no, Florida State's losses always count. We don't get the benefit of quality losses at Florida State. Never have. We got to go undefeated, wire to wire. That's the only way we win national championships. And even then, you don't get a shot. So nice quip, if you will. But come better the next $5 you spend. But we do appreciate the super chats. If you have any questions, if there's any particular thing you'd like to know what I thought about watching the game or whatever, feel free to drop those super chats. You can put regular chats down there, and I'll reply to them if I see them as they come by. I agree, Jay. This is a quality loss. Yes. Or he says, is this a quality loss? I'll say it is. One thing, if you are going to lose a game, if you're going to pick when to lose the game, I think Nick Saban even said it today. It's the first game of the year. That gives you a shot. If Georgia had lost the first game of the year, who knows what happens? Maybe they end up winning that SEC championship game. I don't know. The thing about that whole, if you're going to lose early, lose early, is you have to start winning. So this team is going to have to start winning. I think the next couple weeks you got Boston College, you got a bye, and then you got SMU. You should be able to get those games. You're supposed to get this game though. So not SMU, excuse me. You got BC and then Memphis. So those are 2 actual lesser opponents. I don't know. I can't say that. Georgia Tech was an actual lesser opponent. Brent Key, a lot was made about how good his offense was last year, moving the ball against everybody, leading the ACC in rushing. I'm guilty of downplaying it to a certain extent. Just watching the games, watching how those rushing yards were accumulated and things of that nature. But Florida State never figured it out. They didn't really figure it out all night. They did a lot better in the second half, guys. I mean, it's not like they scored 100 points. But yeah, that's the main thing on defense. The linebackers really weren't flowing. 10, Lundy played pretty good. But I don't think he reached the level of a Kalen DeLoach or Tatum Bethune at any level in that ball game. He made some plays. The DBs were as advertised. I saw some people talking crap about, did the secondary get left at home? No, the secondary played pretty well. I didn't think anything was wrong there. They just didn't throw the ball. I don't have the stats right in front of me because my tablet and my other phone died. We did a live stream over at the Renegade Report. If you guys want to get over there and subscribe, we'd appreciate that. We cover Florida State full time, but we appreciate everybody from college football coming in here as well. Whether you want to just talk football, hear some analytics, or laugh at us, or vent as an FSU fan, whatever it is that you want to do, now's the time for that. But yeah, the defensive line really, really, really was a disappointment. They really never established themselves. They made some better plays, like I said, in the second half, but even there on 3rd and 18, you got to get a stop there. You can't let them get 10 yards. If you don't let them pick up that 10 yards on 3rd and 18, who knows? They're probably not making that field goal. Who knows what they have to do there? But yeah, instead you give up 10 yards, and it's essentially a chip shot for a guy who had missed one early, who gave us a little bit of hope, but that wasn't it. We can talk about the defense all day long, and there's a ton of stuff there for guys that had so much hype coming into the season. That wasn't the dominant performance we've seen or expected, excuse me. But I did predict, my score prediction for this game was 41-24. I thought it was going to be exactly what we got in the first half, maybe not as sloppy, but I thought Georgia Tech was going to score. I thought it could be 14-14, 17-14, something like that at half. But I expected Florida State to take over with that running game to tire out that Georgia Tech defensive line. But on the offense side, that never happened. The running game just never really got going. We weren't unlike Georgia Tech, we weren't getting first down after first down after first down. A lot of the things that we defended DJU on and talked about Mike Norvell would really be able to fix or, kind of accentuate it. We didn't see it. It was like the 17th pass of the game before he took that shot to Malik Benson down the field. That didn't end up happening. I don't know how many shot plays there were, 2 or 3, but he was just kind of a step late on a lot of stuff, on a lot of the timing stuff, the swing passes and stuff out of the backfield. They really, really tried getting those running backs involved, but it's it didn't work. It was definitely pretty tough. You know, you cover these teams and you try to figure out the best you can of what you got going into a season. But one of the problems with college football when you're trying to judge what a team is there is no preseason, there is no integrated camps. You are literally playing against yourself. That's it. So it's hard to judge sometimes whether you have a great O line or an average line and your defensive line is terrible, or vice versa. And I'm not saying our lines are terrible. They're not redeemable or not, but I will just say that we definitely overestimated Florida State fans, analysts the same, both sides of the trenches. The offensive line was getting pushed around all day. They were not moving the defensive line. They were not moving the point of attack. And on offense, Georgia Tech was. Your skill, your playmakers, your Lawrence Toafilis, your Jalen Lucases, like they did enough to keep you in the game, keep the game close. But you just did not get what you needed out of that running game outside of that first drive. That first drive was beautiful, but after that, it just was not there. It just wasn't there. One thing that we noticed, Jen and Deshaun, especially on our stream, were really upset about it, and I was upset about it a bit. You saw Kyle Morlock make some plays over the middle of the field. I think 2 different touchdowns were passes over the middle of the field. You'd think they would have attacked that more. We knew going into this game, if you watched James Coleman over at Dent Media Group's film reviews and us subsequently talking about it on our channel, and you look at what they did last year, they got gashed over the middle of the field all year. It was a big weakness. We knew it. And again, we had some big games. The biggest plays of the games were kind of those passes over the middle. Getting past the disappointment of just that, a lot of people are going to talk about game management. I love Norvell. I'm a big fan. But one of the things I have never understood from day one is some of the clock management decisions he gets. Change of possession. You get stopped on first down, whatever the case may be when you're in a time management situation where you've got a minute left in the game and you've got 3 timeouts, and it's like imperative you score here. They don't call timeout. They just huddle and they go, they run a play, and another 20, 30 seconds runs it. You had all that time. Okay. Well, you decided not to use them, so you'd have them on defense. But the way the game is going, at best, you're going to save a couple seconds. And even then, when they were driving, a timeout was called after Georgia Tech had already milked some clock. Um, the the time management when you lose these games, it can be really tough, and it's hard to ask Mike Norvell about it right after the game because couch quarterbacking and things of that nature. But I wish maybe I would have thought about it in the off season. He's got a philosophy about certain things, about whether it's trying to catch the team off guard or whatever the case may be. But I'm sure a lot of y'all at home were a bit surprised with some of that clock management there in the late third and early fourth or late fourth period.